Thanks very much. I just want to add to what Jerry was saying. For those of you that know me, I met Jerry, about 2.5 years ago. I met Craig. These guys were amazing because when I started this trek back in 2020, after our debacle of 2020, which none of us will ever forget, these guys were so instrumental in me being able to take a petition to all the game clubs in Beaver County. We got petitions signed to get the vote audited, and they were amazing. So they were on my page, I was on their page right from the get-go. So that's what it's going to take, is all of us being involved. I have some handouts. We kind of shortened things up a little bit, so I don't want to take up too much time. But Glenn and I were very, how can I say, honored. I went to Mike Lindell's event last year, and this year we were able to go for the plan revealed. If you're not aware of Mike Lindell, he is a very, very strong patriot. Is this good, Char? Right there. Oh, so I don't want to be video.
Spotlight.
Bad enough being talking. Okay, right here. Is this good, Jerry? Did you do this? I don't want to be
There's a mark right there.
There you go.
Oh, well, okay. Gee, I'm in my 9/11 garb too. So, okay. So anyway, but Mike Lindell, which one thing I do want to say, if you're in this election battle, you know Mike Lindell. He's fighting for this country. When you go through the list and you look at your Seth Keshel, you look at your Professor Clements, you go into the whole list, and I could, we could paper this wall with all the patriots that are working. These people have lost jobs. They've lost careers. Mike Lindell told us at this Election Crime Bureau, he's down $62 million. And if you saw his little clip the other day of how they're fighting him on for the attorneys, for the depositions he's given, they're downright ignorant. So we are in the fight of our lives for this country. When he tells us that if we don't solve this problem, our nation is gone. So that's why he's putting it all on the line. So again, that's why all of us are fighting. I heard something today that all of us fighting, that we may not be the Scott Beamers on Flight 93, but all of us fighting are making a difference. So I want to thank everyone for being here, for listening, for being part of the battle, because it's going to take each one of us, whether it's 5 minutes of time or whether it's you're all over the place with time. It's going to take each one of us. What I wanted to do, that Joel has this on video or too, but it has been an incredible success. So I've got a handout that I want to show you.
Is that the Seth?
No, he's at the end.
Okay.
So I'm giving you all tools of things you can do, okay? Can you hold this a second? Okay, yeah. So Joe put it up here on video. If you want to hand these out, sure, that'd be awesome. I think I have enough for everybody. I'm not going to read all this just because of time, the time factor. But if you go through this, a volunteer grassroots army in every state was motivated to secure their election platforms through the Cause of America. I've written this down for us. Cause of America is a real organization. Okay, Cause of America has been enacted in every state. It's through Mike Lindell. We have people on the ground in every state. When we were at the Election Crime Bureau, we heard each state. They gave a synopsis of what's happening in the state. We have a short video clip for you from Pennsylvania, so you can see what's going on in Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I will say this, because of not winning our election that we wanted to go Republican, we all worked our tails off to go Republican in our governor's race. That did not happen. We have a real battle with Josh Shapiro. If you're not aware of this, and I don't think Tony would mind me saying this, he has come after people that are in the audit the vote realm of organization, okay? So each one of us that's fighting, which whether you're FOAC, whether you're game club, we're all going to bear the price for what we're trying to do for this nation. So keep Tony Shoup in your prayers. Shapiro does have a George Soros financed attorney, and he is definitely going after her. So again, she's younger than me. She's got 3 beautiful young ladies. And it's unfair. I mean, so what do? You're out there trying to find an answer to an election, and the next thing you know, you're being chased after by an attorney. So life is really unbelievable in this time. But read through these. Like I said, I don't want to do it for time, but I do have information to give you at the very end. Cause of America is really worthwhile. I've already taken volunteers for Beaver that they're interested in helping. If you have any desire to help Cause of America or Audit the Vote PA, we can get you hooked up.
We're still doing it on time, so we're good.
We're doing good for
Yeah.
time?
Mhm.
Okay,
So the next video I have is the hard hat guy.
yes, the
Yes.
hard
Okay.
Cause of America had us do introduction videos of why we got involved. I picked out a clip that I thought Joel would enjoy for us to see as a group. It's less than a minute long, but I just wanted you to see this because it's real America.
Steve Bueller. I'm the chairman of the Washington County Republican Party here in Oregon. What woke me up? Well, when we were all sent home in 2020, some people losing their jobs, we had a primary in May here in Oregon. And somehow we voted more taxes on ourselves. That's what woke me up. How could we possibly vote more taxes on ourselves in the middle of the pandemic?
So if you go on to frankspeech.com, if you don't have Frank's Speech app, I'd highly recommend it. He has everything from the Election Crime Bureau on there, the election summit that we did last year is on there. Everything is on there. You can go into each clip and you can see it. Some very worthwhile information.
The next one is
the next
Tony.
one that we have is, this is Tony Shoup. If you don't know Tony, she is the one of the organizers of Audit the Vote. I started working with the girls as soon as we were on the ground working, because we got the word through Facebook that there were some petitions going around. They're like, what? So I found out about it, and I did a lot of work I was telling you about going to Jerry's and Craig's things with the hunting clubs and the game clubs, but I went up to Zillionople. I was a big volunteer out of Zillionople. Zach Shear and I got to know each other pretty well up there. But we really worked hard to get President Trump elected in 2020. So when we saw what happened, we knew there was a problem. So again, we got started right from the get-go. That should be...
No, that's a fade, and then it goes
bye.
right.
Hey everybody, I'm Tony Shoup, CEO of Audit the Vote PA. Back in March of 2020, I was just an average, everyday, stay-at-home mom. I had shelved a mechanical engineering degree a handful of years prior because I wanted to stay home with my 3 girls. And in March of 2020, the day the governor shut the schools down, was when I woke up. I took a Constitution class in the fall of 2020 that pretty much changed the trajectory of my entire life. Of course, we had the stolen 2020 election in Pennsylvania, and we started a statewide movement for election integrity with a petition that we launched in February of 2021. So since then, I'm still just your average everyday mom, but I'm also now the Northeast Regional Director for Patriot Academy's Constitution Coach Program, and the things that I have experienced and done are nothing short of a true miracle, and God gets all the glory. I've had dinner with President Trump. Of course, now we're affiliated with the great Mike Lindell, and we are fighting together to save the Republic. So come join us. We need you.
And keep in mind, these are all volunteer positions. These girls don't make any money. I haven't made a cent by doing this other than spending money. So again, it's all volunteer. The other thing I wanted to tell you was we have...
The next video is the...
Yeah, we have the electronic wiring device.
That's later.
Do you want to do
This one's, I think, the... here, let's see what this one is, and you'll be able to tell right away.
Pennsylvania, wow. Bring them out.
Let me just
Ladies
give
and
you
gentlemen.
a little background, okay? Because Tony's going to come up and give us some information on Pennsylvania. What I want you to pay attention to, Shiona, if you followed the Tina Peters case out of Colorado, Tina Peters was the election clerk there. She worked in the election office. She knew there were problems, and the whole story is she was asked to turn over all of her vote records from an election. She got legal advice. They said copy the records before you transfer them over. When you hear the term selection code, she proved through Colorado that when we look at an election, and we all say this about Fetterman, there was a selection. We never voted for that person, okay? Tina Peters had all the evidence of a selection in Colorado. They changed their whole council in the Colorado area that she was in. This young lady on the right was her clerk. Not only was Tina Peters arrested If you follow Tina Peters, she's got a big lawsuit coming out of Colorado. But this young lady has 3 young children, a 12-year-old daughter, FBI, when you saw Police Station, what's the name of that movie again? Police. Her house was bammed with the big booming thing to come through the front door. Her 3 children, her 12-year-old daughter in her underwear, getting ready for school. And all of us know 12-year-olds, man, you don't see them in their swimsuits, let alone their underwear, right? They made her stand on the front yard in her neighborhood. As the neighbors all went through, they could all see her. This young lady not only had been physically abused in a relationship years prior that man was in jail for, this young lady was put on display. So that was Gianna's daughter that happened to her. She was arrested. Gianna has a big lawsuit coming up too. But if you follow the Tina Peters story, Gold Star mom, her son was killed in the service. They send his remains home and also all the things in his little locker. She never went through it because it was such an honor to even get anything from her son. When the FBI raided Tina Peters' home, they took everything in that box and threw it all over her house. So these are real stories. I mean, when I watched the movie Selection Code, selectioncode.com, it's a free movie, it's available. You will cry when you see what our government and our FBI did to these innocent people. It's heart-wrenching. Okay?
There's a Tina Peters film as well.
Yes.
You can get it and it's free. It's tinapeters.us.
Yeah, she's got a show now too. The nice thing about Mike Lindell with Frank's speech, he's given all these patriots a platform. People that were, taken off of the air, which we haven't heard the story, I'm sure, but January 6th we lost close to, I think, how many YouTubers and
Thousands.
a boatload, like a million. Anybody guessing if I said a million? Because I know Mike Lindell says not only did they quiet us from January 6th, they took our voices down on social media. So anyway, this is our moment for Pittsburgh, or Pennsylvania, I should say. You will hear where we are as a state.
Pennsylvania, wow. Bring them out.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the state of Pennsylvania, Tony Shoup.
Tony Shoup, yes. Hey. And apparently Dr. Frank.
Make sure to ask her how many people know the 3 branches of government and their 5 rights guaranteed to them in the First Amendment. Stand up.
Well, we are.
Uh-oh, everybody else has to take her constitutional class. Thank you.
Tony, let's just jump right in. You've got a lot of information on Pennsylvania. I don't want to take any time from you.
Well, I mean, as you can see, we're not doing great on the score
Yeah,
card.
this is the
part,
scorecard we put together.
Here's
for
how I look at it. I
Pennsylvania.
have kids at home. When I try to clean something up, it always gets worse before it gets better. And so that's kind of the direction we're heading in Pennsylvania. It's getting a little worse in order for it to get better.
Yes. They start kicking and screaming, we don't want to be organized.
Nope. So our biggest wins thus far are really at the local level. We're getting people engaged locally, utilizing the precinct strategy, trying to get as many of those committee positions filled in the GOP as we possibly can. We're also working on a voter roll cleanup effort. We're going to eventually roll out statewide. We've had a lot of success in Allegheny County of all places, which is really good because Allegheny is Pittsburgh area. It's a really big county, and if we can get Allegheny under control and kind of stop the bleeding there, we can actually save the state through that one county and put it back in play for 2024. So we're working hard on that. Election integrity task forces we're forming in as many counties as we possibly can. There's probably at least 20 to 30 that have people that are really engaged in those. And then I see this as the biggest win, what Dr. Frank just told you, is that we have House reps that are becoming Constitution coaches. And so when I started this whole shenanigans was with a Constitution class through Patriot Academy that I took. It was a 6-week course in the fall of 2020 with my partner, Karen Taylor, with Audit the Vote. And it's really what got me interested in politics, and Audit the Vote would not exist really if it wasn't for those classes. And so I actually now work for them. I think I talked about that in my video that played earlier. But the classes, in my view, are the hope because, like Dr. Frank said, actually 70% of Americans can't name the 3 branches of government, and only 80% Can't name more than one of the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment. And kind of what disturbs me the most is I'm traveling around the country and speaking, and I'm talking to large Patriot groups, and when I say that, stand up, not even like 20% of people stand up. So if the most red-blooded, Constitution-loving Americans who want to save the country can't recognize the 5 freedoms, that's not good. So the solution is get educated. You can take our Constitution classes at auditthevotepa.com is our website. You can go there and register for the next ones that are coming up. Or you can go to patriotacademy.com's website, click on Find a Class. There are 25,000 Constitution coaches like me all over the country now that are hosting these courses. And I think once we get the Republic back, once we save it, it's the only way we're going to keep it. And so the win in Pennsylvania is that we've got 5 House reps right now that have gone through the courses, and they themselves are actually becoming Constitution coaches and offering it to their constituents.
That's an amazing way to stay accountable to the people also. You guys have had some legal wins, so you've had some lawsuit success.
We've had a little bit of lawsuit success, which I believe in reaping and sowing, and as hard as we're working and not seeing the wins that we want to, then Judicial Watch kind of comes in and working parallel. We didn't even know really what they were doing, but we got a win with Judicial Watch, getting over 170,000 voters off the rolls through 5 counties.
So good. Yeah. So
And
good.
yeah. So, you know, as discouraged, all you're getting today is hope, and there's a lot of reason for hope, but you know, reaping and sowing is real. So we do the work. John Quincy Adams' famous quote, "Duty is ours, results are God's." At Audit the Vote, we live by that. We're just doing our duty, and we're leaving the rest to God. And we got a win through Judicial Watch, removing voters from our voter rolls. So that was awesome.
Tell us a little bit about York County. What's going on there?
Our hand counting success right now, we're just trying to get our election directors skeptical about what's going on with the voter machines, which Clint Curtis is an asset for. But we were able to convince, because of our relationships in the counties, York County, to do a hand recount of 3 random precincts right after the November general election, just to increase public confidence in the outcome. And they did do it. We've got relationships with them. And then we also, Delaware County of all places, kind of the belly of the beast of our state, were able to get a hand recount of 1 precinct from the November general election. And there were discrepancies, not massive discrepancies, but the hand count did show something different than what the machine count showed.
I like what you said there, what was the word that you used, getting them skeptical?
Yes, just get them to question.
Yeah.
Are these machines as secure as I'm being told? And if we can get our foot in the door there, I think that's a way we can win.
Fantastic work, and I would not have been paying attention to Pennsylvania if it was not for you and your social media and telling everybody all the time what was happening in Pennsylvania. Tony Shoup, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll give you a little current event. If you follow any of the elections, Fayette County just had a big election for their county commissioner about a month ago now, and John Marietta has a real fight on his hands. They were able to win a recount of 7 precincts. I believe there are something like 70 precincts in Fayette County. The number of errors that they made in Fayette County is almost 10% on the mail-in ballots and 1% on the in-person votes. That should have automatically brought the county into saying, let's do a recount. But because we're living in a different country and we don't own these people, they're making us fight for everything that we're doing. John has already spent over $30,000 in legal fees to try to get a recount. John Marietta is as normal as we are. He has a radio show called Hillbilly John. He's out of Fayette County. He cannot believe the fight that he has, but he's not quitting. So if you feel so inclined, all of these people, which we all know, need financial support. Okay, so that's a real live story happening at the moment. There was a little bit of a controversy last week with rumors were flying that they were going to take the voting machines, that Shapiro actually did fly into Fayette County on, Pennsylvania taxpayer-funded plane, but they wouldn't really divulge why they were there. So we don't have anything definite to say about that, but they did try to take the machines and the judge stopped them from taking the machines. So again, it took people on the ground to realize what was happening, and they got to the judge in enough time to stop it. There's been no statement made, so we're not going to say that he was there to take the machines. But again, we're all living in a different time period, so I would not be surprised. So anyway, Seth Keschel, if you're aware of Seth, Captain K has been very involved in the fight.
The Election Crime Bureau is proud to introduce.
No, that's the next video up. Are you okay with me playing that one?
Well, it's
That's the
20
wireless?
minutes. Oh, the wireless, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, I've got,
The
yes,
Election
this-
Crime
this is
Bureau is
good.
proud to introduce the WMD, or Wireless Monitoring Device. The wireless monitoring device is a sophisticated network connection monitoring system designed specifically.
Let me just give you a little background on this. This wireless monitoring device is a device that they want to have for every precinct in the whole United States. Okay, and we didn't have a moment to show you, but there was a video of all the news media that if you ask them if their election machines are tied to the internet, and you know how the media, they have all these clips, they all say the same thing. No, they're not connected to the internet. Well, the team with Mike Lindell said we've got to do something to show that these machines are connected to the internet. We know they are because those of us that were poll workers and poll watchers were able to connect into the internet while we were in the polls. So that's kind of really weird that they're not connected, but you can get a connection. So the team has come up with what they call a wireless monitoring device. This is a short clip. They're in production. Those of us in the computer world know that there's a problem getting chips. So they're working to get the chips, but the goal is to have every precinct manned with one of these for 2024. They are not illegal. They do not give any information out that should not be out there. It's everything that you use your cell phone with, that they track us doing everything with, right? So again, there's a lot of rumors flying around what these really do. They are legal and they don't spy on you. So, and they're about $500.
The Election Crime Bureau is proud to introduce the WMD, or Wireless Monitoring Device. The wireless monitoring device is a sophisticated network connection monitoring system designed specifically with election security in mind. We have been told that our election computers are never connected to the internet. The WMD will put that to the test by detecting and reporting, in real time, Wi-Fi connections in county and state election offices. All internet routers and access points will be reported, as well as any devices to which they connect. The WMD incorporates many years of research and state-of-the-art development. It is a low-weight, low-power device that uses only passive signal detection to detect online systems, and it will never interfere with any normal network operations. When an online connection is detected, the Election Crime Bureau Master Alert system will be quickly notified, and the alert will be displayed on the alert web page. You will note that there are two boxes located to the right of the screen. These boxes display the information about the access points at the top and the wireless clients at the bottom box. The sheer amount of devices can make analyzing the map difficult, so this website gives you the opportunity to deselect any of the different kinds of devices. Note that the points on the map are color-coded to simplify identification. As we deselect and update, those types of devices are removed from the map. Clicking on a device shown on the map displays additional information about that device in the bottom information window. Currently, the MAC address, the hardware vendor, and the first time the device was detected displays. Additional information will be continually added. The nearby checkbox allows you to view only the devices with the strongest signal, which in most cases means that they are nearest to the WMD detection device. This allows you to filter out devices outside of the immediate area. All information is securely archived for later analysis. The wireless monitoring device is ready to be deployed in any election, from local to presidential.
And what that'll do when they get the data from that, even like real time, it'll go to Cause of America. So say Cause of America, Pennsylvania, you're working at the Beaver, whatever precinct, and something's detected on that machine, it'll be sent right over to Cause of America, and they have teams that will be working on the ground with that. So again, it's going to be real. It does work. We saw it demoed while we were at the summit. So And they're saying probably about $500 per device, but they're in production, so.
Barb, aren't they gonna need approval to have that in? No?
No, it won't be in there. You could stand outside, just like what Con did, out there on the sidewalk. I could stand outside my precinct and it'll be there.
Hey, Vivian, all it's going to do, that box, it will detect whatever device is looking for a wireless scanner. Period. That's all it's gonna do. And through the filtering, you can knock off cell phones, wireless routers, etc., etc. Within the wireless device, the cards all have addresses and so on. And if a machine is trying to get a wireless access point, that thing will identify the connection points up. That's all it does.
Yeah, it doesn't give away any people's names, doesn't know who's voting, anything like that.
Okay, but then what?
Nabila, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it's not so much a question, I guess more of a statement, is that I can see this being used against us as well, because we all know how the other side loves to spin information, so if a Republican candidate ends up winning, I can see them placing the blame that we did something, even though the machine, the device is not supposed to be doing that, but we know how they spin everything. I mean, we saw from January 6th, I guess that's something to consider.
They have it all,
Moving
they
forward.
do have, I know I did a quick little clip on it, but we spent a good, what would you say, about a couple hours studying that
Yeah,
over
a
there.
couple hours. It is not a network sniffer.
I know it's
Therefore, it will
I'm not
pick
saying
up
that
any
it is.
stuff like- But I'm sure they'll try and spin it.
Exactly, that's my
Yeah.
point, is that, so we need to be prepared.
Yeah, they
To
are.
Be ready with an offensive measure.
Right, thank you. Yeah, no, they really are.
So, does this actually have legal, does this have legal
Yeah.
rights to it? That you can actually use this as evidence against the election fraud?
Against the what?
Is this something that you could take this information to court with?
Well, here's the goal, okay? We want real evidence, real time. Because what we found out in 2020, to say this happened, and after an election is certified and we can't get a court to look at any evidence, we don't have anything to stand on. So this is real time to say this is happening now, and there's attorneys on site that would handle it. So that is to get it reported before anything is certified.
Just reported, but it has no legal standing, basically, right?
I don't think I understand
If
the
you
question.
have actually proved that there is interference in this particular precinct, okay?
Right,
Right?
yeah.
That should be automatic, shut down this site, and right?
That's what the goal is.
Well, I think she was also saying an attorney would also
Yeah,
be
it goes
there
right, yeah,
to
Cause of
pounce
America.
and jump in.
The way that signal goes out, it goes to a team. So they're building a team to have it be registered. You know what? We gotta do one step at a time. Let me tell you.
It's true, because they're hoping we're just gonna take them on the chin and
And
stay home.
the reason really, and if you listen to the people that, Mike Lindell, the news reporters all say they're not connected to the internet. We blow their lie out of the water. This is connected to the internet.
Absolutely.
Boom, right?
Absolutely, but there hasn't been one judge that said, hey.
They haven't even
Before
seen
you
the real
even
cases.
take it to a judge, the local constable is the one you call if there is an election issue at any
Right,
precinct.
right.
So you would notify the constable,
Okay, so.
and it would be
constable
up
takes
to the
where?
constable to, take immediate action.
Okay, Mark, I've been doing this since 2010. Everybody calls me and tells me what the issues are. I call 3 attorneys and give them, nothing ever happens with the attorney. Even though everything's sorry. I've been doing this since 2010. I stay home and you call and tell me you're having issues with how the count's going. Or the machines aren't working. I report this to 3 different attorneys. Nothing ever happened. So what's the point in reporting it?
Well, a hardware device that would show evidence is a lot better than a report as well. I mean, again, just more empirical data we can show to prove stuff is better. 2's better than 1.
Well,
5
seriously, not
things
right
are
now.
better than 4.
Watch, I would really reiterate, and I know I cut out a clip, Joel and I talked. I have a really excellent video from Professor David Clements. I would really suggest that you watch it. It'll show you that it's not just the machines. It goes through everything from how a voter rolls. It goes through how the evidence is given to the news media, how they don't report it correctly, how the numbers change. We have all the data on how numbers changed on election night. If you think of your registry on your heat, you know, you turn up your heat, or in your car, electric, you know, you get in your car and it automatically starts. Everything is so automatic. When you look at the votes and how they're counted, you're going to get a real eye-opener. So again, Professor Clements really gives you a lot of information. He worked for the crime unit with 6 police stations in New Mexico. He was a district attorney. Awesome, awesome man. He said we have an election crime cartel. He worked with the cartels in New Mexico. He knows all about it. He solved it actually if you saw the movies like Absolute Proof and when they did the Cyber Symposium, Professor Clements has been on it from the very beginning. When you see his video, and I know I have it written down on the papers that Joel's going to put up on our news site too, but if you go to Cause of America or frankspeech.com, every video that's up there, Glenn and I were there for like 2 days, 24 hours, 12 days, 12 hours, 12 hours. So I'm giving you like a Reader's Digest version of a topic that, again, it's a quick little topic, you know, to have you understand it, but you really need to watch some of those videos. And number one, I would go watch Professor Clements. It'll help you to really understand where in that video that he puts up, because we know that our polls were closed in Pennsylvania on election night. Beavers mentioned, Allegheny County's mentioned it. So we were shut down, and that's one thing, like awareness is so important that if we know this happened in 2020, we're not going to let it happen, because we're going to have poll watchers, we're going to have poll workers, we're going to have people there, and Cause of America, but we're not going to allow it to happen. They got it by us in 2020, it's not going to happen again. We have to be positive, because all of us can give all these negatives, but if we stop fighting, we've lost the country. Okay, so I do have
Seth is next. Here's the slide for Seth.
I don't know if you want to say any more questions.
Hey, Barb, I just wanted to say, with what I watched, what I gathered from that, is this is just another tool that we didn't have before.
Right, we've never had
And when
this.
the owners of Dominion stand up and say, there's no internet connection, this just proves that they're liars. So it just gives us a little more.
Right, and when you see the video clips, like you know how they do that with CNN and you know MSNBC and NBC and Channel 11, Channel 2, and they all say the same darn thing. They all say they're not connected to the internet. Well, this just tells them that yeah, they are.
The summit was fabulous. It was. I watched it. I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's definitely worth watching. So.
That's
okay, so we have, I know Vivian mentioned Captain K. Seth Keshel, if you're not aware of who Seth Keshel is, and I'm going to say General Flynn recommended him. We're real supporters of General Flynn. Seth Keshel is a data guy, probability. He did baseball. He knows baseball numbers. He put together 2016 numbers saying why President Trump would win. He was spot on correct. He did it for 2020. He knew that night that something really tragic had happened. So Seth has been in the battle. Another patriot that has lost a job. I mean, he's a veteran. He came out of serving in the war, and he worked in transportation because of his skills in doing data. He lost his job when they found out he was a conservative. So another real story of a real person. Seth travels around the country. He does workshops, and we've had him here to Pittsburgh several times. But again, you know, these people are on their own dime. No one's paying them to do this. So people will say, oh, they're making all this money. And I'm sure you've all heard it, the grifter talk. The Patriots that we've met are doing it on their own dime or whatever we can do. We try to pay for their, through donations, get their tickets to come in on a plane. He's in Texas, so for him to come up here is pretty far. But again, you know, they're all on social media, like Joel says, social media. But Seth has put together an acronym of what we can all do. Because again, it's gonna take all of us to save this country. So L is for lead. We must fill the basic leadership positions in our counties, like Noah said, precinct strategy, being a precinct committee person. We must represent each precinct here. Okay, I know Fabiola and Rico can help us out with that. I've talked to both of them, and also Noah. Noah has to sign up tonight. So guys, being a precinct committee person, all you're doing is in your area, like where I vote, I know almost everybody in my precinct. They look at me, they say, I don't want to use the machine. I'm like, I know, I don't want you to either, but we don't have a choice right now. But when you get to know people, you can tell them what's going on in the area. This election's really important. It's a local election, but we need these judges. Pennsylvania has got to turn. When you talk judges and you say Supreme Court, we lost the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania because we didn't go to the polls that year. So we need a Republican court again. So that's going to take all of us. So again, I know what you're saying about the judges, but we have got to be on the ground working to get our people out voting for our Republican judges. The next one is to investigate. We do have Audit the Vote. We also have Cause of America. Please consider joining as a volunteer. We need everyone. We need investigators. Again, investigators. We had Con helped us out at the other election, knew that the voting machines were connected to the internet. He was able to get a hold of Tony. Granted, like, we're all new at this. I'm going to be honest with you. No one gave us a handbook of how to handle voting, right? We all trusted our government. Am I wrong? We all did. I mean, to our, really, to our...
Supreme Court changed all the laws without legislation in Pennsylvania.
Well, did we know they were changing them? Were we involved? Did we know what Jerry said? Did we go to Harrisburg? But no, but did we hold them accountable? I mean, again, we can get all upset, and I'm right there with you, but we were not involved. Most of us, when I door knock, let me tell you, that's an experience. There are people that don't even know there's an election. So we're involved in this room, we're involved, but there's people that aren't.
Okay, so I have to say, I feel the frustration and I want to make my voice heard. Who do I go to? Fetterman?
95, 95.
I gotta say, I don't think I have a voice to go to.
Time out on that one. I mean, we're all in that same boat. But we worked our tails off to not have Fetterman elected. It didn't happen.
Again, it was selected.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but no. What this gentleman though is saying,
yeah,
it's the PA Supreme Court, it's not the federal Supreme Court.
Right.
So it was our Supreme Court, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, did the changing without legislation.
Right.
So the people we ought to blame is our legislators. They're the ones who then just smacked the judges upside the head and said, hey, you're overstepping.
Well, and we won the one case.
The wasn't going to do anything, so here we are.
Right.
And like Tony was saying, three branches of government, we also have three branches of the state as well, but no one follows what they're supposed to do.
Right, exactly. Right. And we did win the one case, and then the other court turned it over. We did win on Act 77. They weren't supposed to count mail-in ballots, and then the other court turned it over. So again, I mean, judges are a problem. I'm not going to say they aren't. Okay, V is for volunteer. We're looking for volunteers. Like Noah said, we need to have poll watchers, poll greeters. I'm going to say, boys and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I worked really hard for Doug Mastriano as a volunteer. We really knocked it out of the park for poll greeters and poll watchers and people. We really did. In this last primary, I'm like, where did they go? We cannot give up. And Paul Simmons, I can't get too excited. Paul's not here. We cannot give up. We just can't. There's no other option. I don't want to face God and say, Lord, I gave up the best country in the world. I'm so sorry. I stayed home. We cannot. If we're going to turn this country around, everyone has to volunteer. Whether it's 10 minutes at your poll, we have to. So if you have any friends, family, people that would volunteer, we really need that. And E means to engage. Banish the thought. We will never win another election again from your mind. Turning out the vote is imperative. And again, these are all words from Seth Keschel. He's on the ground fighting, okay? And all of us have to be fighters. So, if I can answer any questions, I'll be glad to.
Well, last one.
Oh, S is for show up. Show up like we're all here. S is for show up. Attend local meetings and events, and as Darrell will tell you, we do that. Show up at government meetings. Am I allowed to say this here? Yeah. I've been going to commissioner meetings, and it's a new thing for me. I've been to 3, and I want to tell you, they noticed because I was at the event tonight at 9/11. Barb, why are you at the meetings? I'm like, I'm just coming to find out, what's happening on the ground here. And I'll be honest with you, it was exciting because we were working the table. We've been to Hookstown. We were just at the Big Top. I get them all wrong. And one of the fellas comes up to me and he starts talking about the intercom that they're using for the emergency rescue teams. I heard about it in the commissioners' meeting. So I'm like, okay, so tell me all about that. Like, what do you think about it? And it was pretty cool because here I was in the meeting and I knew what he was talking about. So again, on the ground, do what you can. Some of us don't want to be involved. I've always been involved to a certain degree. We helped back in the day when my kids were little, we helped on the school board to change things over for my 3rd grader, that it didn't become an intermediate classroom, it stayed as beginning elementary. We got parents together and we did make a difference in that situation. We got a council member elected, but I've never been this involved. And again, it's something that I think a lot of us are feeling that we have to be involved. And Noah, thank you. I also want to say, for President Trump going to Iowa at that football game, was that not incredible to see Gen Z people there?
What about the frat?
It's a wake-up call.
The frat house was terrific.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
Yeah.
So again, these are all things that I think there was something at Geneva. Was that last Friday?
It was Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're really reaching out. So if you have any ideas, Fabiola's the person to talk to, but she's everywhere. So, again, there really are a lot of good people working. So I've met some really wonderful people through all this. And we all have new friends because we lost our old friends.
Yeah.
So hey, thanks for listening. I do have handouts. This is from Seth Keschel. Put this on your refrigerator. Maria is running for Recorder of Deeds. She's going to need help. So, there's a candidate back there. Register of Wills. Thanks, Darrell. I get it. And Jody's here too. Jody, yeah.
Thank you, Barb. Everybody give a